Good evening and welcome to the Cheese Room podcast. My name is John. I'm your host for this evening. Sorry, my laptop just froze for a second, so I don't know if I was just freezing. We were supposed to be joined by a special guest this evening, Elton Welsby, but he hasn't appeared. Good evening, Adrian. So we'll just get on with it. So how are you, DaveO?
Yeah, good, thanks. Back in Australia, just trying to get over the jet lag by drinking 6 schooners of Han Super Dry the other night. It's the way to go.
We have evidence of what happened to you, Dave.
Oh, we do have evidence, yes. And well, we'll move on to him next. Joining us all the way from Vienna, a man that told us earlier today that he's seen by his pupils as a funkle, a fun uncle, if you like, which makes me worry. I'd hate to see what the horrible teachers are like, HG.
Yeah, pretty much. It is a weird feeling when you walk into a classroom and like 25 kids are happy to see you, because I'm not happy to see them most of the time. But there you go. I'm all right. Friday is here again. I feel like I'm now back into this work routine, because like when you have 9 weeks off in the summer, getting back into the routine takes a while. And what is it? I've got one more week before it's half term again. But life is good. Look, like we all make choices. And I chose one where I get 15 weeks off a year. So,
there you go.
Yeah,
and joining us,
maybe it's more than 15. I am trying to think now, but anyway, keep going.
Oh, just stop.
Joining us from Melbourne. Has it warmed up down there now, JP?
Yeah, it's warmed up a bit. It's been incredibly wet the last few days, but it's not 12 degrees, so the sleeves are off. But I've been away for a while, so it's been good to be back today with you all, and looking forward to speaking Spurs.
And next, I'd love to welcome Elton Welsby, but he's not here, so we'll skate past this, and we'll just move on to the.
Just presume he had some terrible accident.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't tweeted at all today. He hasn't responded. He did do a dry run with me on Wednesday night, so. And he said he was up for it, but he's gone silent on me this evening, unfortunately, which is a real shame because we had quite a good chat the other night. Shall we? Let me just scroll down.
Did you imagine it? Really? Is he your imaginary childhood friend from the 80s, Elton Welsby? I mean,
is this the new Sandro? Where?
Oh God! Well, yeah. No, look at this, JP. There he is. He definitely doesn't look like that anymore. That was from 1982. He actually told me to record a show on ITV4, which was Match Day Revisited. And the show that I happened to record was the 1982 Cup semi-final between Spurs and Leicester. And this was him presenting that show.
Oh, I was at that game.
There you go. Just a boy, were you? How old were you then, Dave?
24.
No, you weren't.
No, you weren't.
I know. Everyone makes out I'm very old, so there you go.
Well, you have just told us it's your birthday next week.
It is my birthday next week, yes.
Oh, well, happy birthday. Anyway,
Thank you very much.
Elton. So, where are we at? Was Elton really surprised? Yes, Linda, he was. Shall I put the theme tune music on just to show what we'd lined up?
Yeah, do it.
Only people of a certain age from the UK will really understand this, but here we go. It's 30 seconds long. I apologise if you don't like it.
They just don't make intros like that anymore. Go back.
No.
Go back.
He just
and yeah, Becky's right. Those Hummel kits, and I've got one of the older ones on. Got the Clive Allen one on.
Yeah, but you can't beat Lecoq Sportif 1981 that I'm today fashioning.
I don't wish to know about your love of Lecoq. It's fine.
Sportif.
So onto the midweek game, and Steve Diver did send us some very nice pictures of the atrium in the West Stand, where they put a lovely what's the word? I'm very tired. What's the word?
That bench is wonky. That bench is wonky. Someone needs to fix that.
That's what she's worried about. So Giampiero Ventroni, and also there was one of John Duncan, just the other side. Dave, obviously, I dropped you in and said you'd give us a little ode to John Duncan. What are your memories of John Duncan? He was played in your first game, didn't he?
No, he didn't play in my first game. He was there. Sorry, he was there. So his final full season with the club was the year we were in the old Division 2. You call it the Championship. So we'd been relegated the year before. So my memories of him, we had a lot of strikers: John Duncan, Chris Jones, Jerry Armstrong, Ian Moores, rest in peace, Colin Lee, and he's quite injury prone. But what I remember about him, and I was really young at the time, is that he was really good in the air, rose very high in the air, and as Adrian said, that he scored a goal every other game. He had a very good scoring record in a team that was pretty poor at the time, and we got relegated. And I've just found out this week that his actual final game for Tottenham was when we got smashed 7-0 at Anfield. So he's died at a relatively early age, and obviously he's contributed to our club. And I think that obviously everyone knows what my views on the ownership are. I think that what the club have done over the last couple of weeks with this incredibly difficult pieces of sad news and the way the club have gone about it is, I'm really proud of what we've done and the tributes that we've done. And I think that's a real, when we get it right, we get it right. And, got to call that out.
Oh, fair play. And also, I believe Frankfurt laid these flowers. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's a lovely touch as well. And then obviously got the stopwatch and his jacket there as well, which is really nice tribute to Conte's sort of best buddy in many ways, isn't he? Been with him, 30 years since he was a player?
Yeah.
Is it weird that I always hope that stays there the whole season? I don't want it to be a one-game thing. I think
it'll be interesting to see how long it does, because obviously there's a lot of love for him. There was a lot of love for him, so it'd be interesting to see how long they keep. If they do keep it, or if they just stop it now.
I mean, refresh the flowers, obviously, but the principle or whatever, like having the jacket and the stopwatch, I don't know. Like there's something to that.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, before we move on, here's a good question from King Hoddle for you, DaveO. Was he better than Mark Falco?
Well, I mean, and there's also a comment from Adrian that he scored 4 goals in a 9-0 win over Bristol Rovers. And I hate to contradict anyone in life. But
Colin Lee, wasn't it?
That was Colin Lee. That was my first game at Tottenham, which the 45th anniversary is coming up, which no doubt the club will commemorate in commendable fashion.
DVD.
45 years of DaveO. Yeah. PowerPoint, overhead projector, acetate, whatever. Was he better than Mark Falco? Mark Falco. The funny thing about Mark Falco was in that team in the early 80s, we had Archibald Crooks and all the others. And I always felt at the time that Mark Falco was always the one who scored the worst goal. If we won 4-1 somewhere, it always came in off his arse or something like that. And then, and I never really, but he scored a great goal against Arsenal. But I think Falco was better than John Duncan. I mean, Falco did pick up the UEFA Cup medal, but John Duncan was a very good player, and obviously very sad that we've lost him at still a relatively early age.
And it never twigged to me that John Duncan, the footballer who I'd heard of, I don't know too much about, was the same John Duncan, the Chesterfield manager, which I did remember. I had no idea that it was the same bloke. So I was like, oh, okay. No wonder I liked that Chesterfield team getting to the FA Cup that year, whenever it was, 25 years ago or something. But,
and they got absolutely robbed, didn't they?
They did.
In
the semi-final. David Ellery, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're all the same.
Well, it would have been the linesman, not Ellery, wouldn't it? Because it was whether the ball went over the line or not. But anyway, I didn't see Duncan obviously play, and I didn't really see Falco play with Spurs. I really started following Spurs just as he was sold. But his last season, he did score 25 goals for Spurs. So as Duncan mainly played when we were in quite a poor team, it's quite hard to wait up. Falco had Glenn Hoddle, didn't he? And I mean, I guess Duncan had Hoddle, but a younger Hoddle.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Shall we move on to starting lineups? HG, as you and I were probably the only ones awake at the time, or was DaveO, were you awake because of your jet lag?
Well, I watched, because of my commitment to the cheese room, when I was on holiday in England, I did 2 shows and this Instagram feeds and stuff like that. So I watched the first half, went to work, and then I watched the second half last night in preparation for this show. So I'm across it.
I'm just going to stop. Adrian saying no one else remembers who scored the other 2 goals. Didn't Hoddle score one of them?
It was Hoddle and Taylor.
There you go. Well done.
And Bobby Gould was playing for Bristol Rovers that day.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that.
Should we move on from October the 22nd, 1977 and get back to this week?
Gosh. Starting lineup. Dave, were you surprised?
I was really surprised to see this kind of new midfield pairing of Bentancur and Højbjerg playing. I mean, I think we're going out on a limb here trying these two. I hope it works for them. They're new to the game. Let's hope they're a success at the club. I think that look, my mate Lenglet, I think, should play in Europe, and Ben Davies should play in the Premier League. Other than that, it's good to see my other mate Emerson Royale playing and showing his quality. So no surprises.
HG, this is pretty much the team. Sorry, you're having a drink. Pretty much the team I think you forecast, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the team that we probably expect to see. I mean, Davies for Lenglet is, probably the only one that you might have thought could have happened, but we know he likes 3-4-3. It's weird, like looking at that graphic now, I'm suddenly impressed that they chose the black and white Frankfurt emblem instead of the red and white one, which is probably more common. But yeah, like it's Sessegnon over Perisic. I never liked that, but I probably wanted it for this game because I knew that Lindstrom is super quick for Frankfurt. But yeah, I think whether we like it or not, this 3-4-3, if Royal's not suspended, he's likely going to start. And Kulusevski, I guess if he's possibly fit, then he'll be involved a lot more. But it does appear that 3-4-3 is going to happen more often than not this season.
Okay. JP, I don't know if when did you see the team? Did you see the result before you saw the team, or?
Yeah, I saw the result before I saw the team, which is what it is. But I was slightly surprised. I thought after kind of the relative success of the 3-5-2 the other game that maybe that would have come out. But I think with Emerson always going to be back in the starting lineup, I think he's always going to go with a 3-4-3 because he needs someone out wide with him to help him pass a ball.
Yeah, I mean, were you surprised Sessegnon started again, second game in a row?
No, I don't think he'll start the next game, but he's been playing well. And as HG said, there's speed in that Frankfurt team, and that we're going to be a worry for us. So Sessegnon made a lot of sense.
Yeah. Okay. So 12 minutes in, Eric Dyer had a bit of rush of blood and flew in and got himself a booking. HG, what did you think of that?
I don't really remember the booking, to be fair. Like, I know he got booked really early on. I guess he just a bit rash, right? Late, rash. It's one of those stupid things that Dyer can do sometimes, especially when it doesn't need to happen. I think it was close to the touchline too.
It was, yeah. He got dragged out of position.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess these things happen. As long as it's not 2 yellows, I don't necessarily mind about one. But yeah, it wasn't the best start for him.
Just saying hello to our Korean friend there.
Hello.
None of us know any Korean. What a shame.
No, not to what. Well, JP's got some Korean friends, so maybe you can get some translation for us at some point, JP. And obviously, 2 minutes later, Romero passed the ball to Dyer, who decided to switch off in the box. Maybe he was still thinking about the booking. And a couple of passes later, the ball's in the back of our net. JP, did you see that one?
Yeah, I think it was just one of, like, every now and then a player's going to have a bad touch. The problem is you can't be the centre-back standing in front of the striker when you do it. And unfortunately for us, he's had a brain fade and it's resulted in a goal.
Yeah, Dave, do you reckon it was the booking was still on his mind?
I'm wearing a retro Tottenham shirt this week, and I'm a retro person. And I think the first 20 minutes we got retro Dyer. I mean, I was expecting him at any minute to go into the crowd and have a go at the peanut seller for shortchanging his brother in Rose Ed. So the first 20 minutes, I thought he had an absolute nightmare. He really did. And, I don't think Lloris covered himself in glory with that situation as well. So it was an all-round Keystone Cops situation.
To Dyer's credit, though, I think post that moment, he kind of got back and I thought he was fairly solid for the rest of the game. But it's one of those, like, you kind of have to mark him down for the game because it was so bad that moment.
Yeah. And just 5 minutes later, Harry gets the ball, spins, left-footed pass through to Sonny, who seemed to have a huge space in the Frankfurt defence, HG, and slotted it home. Well, it was almost like he's not been out of form.
It was almost like the defender forgot that Son existed. I mean, that's the thing. For him to have that much space, like even if he is 35 yards from goal when the ball's played, like where is the defender running? You watch the replay of this. I think it was Tuta, the guy who got sent off later on. Like he just starts running behind Hasebe. Maybe Richarlison was making the run on the other side and he wanted to get across. I don't know, but he left Son all by himself, and Son's first touch wasn't great. Yet he still had enough time to pick his spot. So it's great because we want to see Son scoring. We know that he's can be kind of streaky. He likes to get on a run with scoring goals. But I can't look at that and think, what on earth? What was the defender doing? That was the most important thing to me.
If you watch it back as well, and you watch from the other goal side camera angle, Son runs inside the defender. He just keeps kind of tracking, and it's after Harry passes it that he goes, "Oh shit, Son's through on goal. I better run now."
I think you find that's O'Shicer.
O'Shicer, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Dave, are we going to see Sonny on the run now? Is he going to have one of his streaks?
He scored 5 goals this season against 2 not terribly good defences. So I want to see him put some consistent performances in, and then hopefully we'll get a streak out of him. I mean, he's got Everton this weekend, although Everton have tightened up a bit. But we'll talk about that later. Sorry.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. And then 9 minutes later, Harry burst into the box and sort of went over, and the ref was not having any of it, was he? Absolutely not. Every Spurs player was surrounding him. And unfortunately, eventually VAR told him to go to the video monitor. I did think, HG, that the ref was almost trying to find a way not to give the penalty. It felt like that.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly thought it was a penalty in real time. I mean, I screamed as loudly as a father of a 6-year-old can when those things happen. But
so that's very loudly.
Well, I mean, not when they're asleep. I mean, that's the issue.
Okay.
My 6-year-old was asleep. I couldn't really scream, but it felt like a penalty in real time. Oddly enough, when you looked at the replay, you saw that the defender doesn't get anywhere near the ball. I think it was Jakic. It was nowhere near the ball, but also you expect that Kane is waiting for the challenge and is ready to hit his own heel and go to ground. So I think I saw a comment on Twitter that it was like that sweet spot of Kane making the most of a challenge that shouldn't have happened. But it was a clear penalty. I mean, I'm not surprised the referee gave it in the end, but I wonder what conversation they had, the VAR with him, kind of like, I think it's a penalty. How are you not going to give it? But I don't know. It was one of those things that I wasn't too surprised that he didn't give it initially. But once VAR get involved, you kind of expect there's going to be some change. It doesn't seem to happen very often that referees look at the video evidence and say, yes, I was right. Screw you, Mr. VAR. I don't know.
Have a news flash, Dave. Ivan Toney scored a penalty. It's 2-0.
Oh, it's great for my fantasy team. Fantastic. Very good.
That means Brentford are twice as good as Spurs, right? Because we only beat Brighton 1-0.
Yes, that's right.
That's how
it works. That's absolutely how it works. Yeah,
absolutely.
We won the Premier League last year because we beat.
Also means Brentford are better than Man City, doesn't it? Because they beat Man United by 4 clear goals. Anyway, JP, any doubt about the penalty? Bearing in mind what happened later on.
I always have doubt after the first one he missed this year. So I'm always a little bit nervous, and because I'm a nervous person as it is, but no, that he struck that clean and sweet. So it felt confident, and he's hit the last 2 of them straight into the roof of the net. And so I was like, oh yeah, Harry's back. It was just a blip. Lo and behold.
Yeah. Dave, do you want to comment on this one? About the refs?
Yeah, first of all, the word litany is a great word. It's a nice one, King Hoddle, who often accuses me of being negative in the comment section. I've no idea why. The ref, the ref made a poor decision, but he was guided and had the wherewithal to go and have a look at it, and that was it. I mean, there was the comedy moment at the sending it off in the second half, but we'll get Spanish ref. He's probably upset about Gibraltar still. I don't know.
And a few minutes later, Richie Højbjerg burst down the right-hand side, chipped the ball to Sonny, who absolutely smashed it home. JP, talk to us about that goal. How beautiful was it?
I thought it was amazing work from Højbjerg. to kind of make that space and get in the box and chip it. I'm going to be slightly controversial. I think the shot was very down the middle, and the keeper should have done better with it. But it was hit hard and fast, and so maybe he's just wrong-footed for it. But the technique from both Højbjerg to get it into the box as he did, and from Sonny to hit it the way he did was sensational. It was fantastic goal.
Do you think that's a bit harsh? Him saying the keeper should save that, Dave?
What, the Son volley?
Yeah.
It's literally an arm's length away from him. He's just standing still in the middle of the goal, and it's about here.
I'm not. You know something? When your kids start playing Saturday morning kiddies football, and you're on the side, I'm worried already. Honestly,
I was a goalkeeper when I played juniors. I would have been murdered for that.
Listen, I thought
ridiculous standards.
It was a great look. The way he set himself up, the body was poised. It was the clean strike. It was a thing of beauty. No goalie would have saved that. Come on now, JP.
Well, wasn't it interesting to actually see?
I think the goalie will look back on it and go, "I should have done more to at least try."
Yeah, I just think it was interesting to see a decent cross from the right-hand side for a change. How long has that been?
Actually
18
looked
months?
Up. He looked up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
And so, I mean, the Son doesn't move. Like, he just stands where he is, and all the players are running around him. I made the comment on the reaction show Wednesday night that I think it was Sessegnon who ran at full speed to get closest to the keeper, and that took the wing back out of play. But yes, the Son's, 5 yards of space in the box, doesn't really have to do anything, and it was all about the contact. And once he got it, and once he hit it well, I don't think it was ever any doubt that it was going to go in the back of the net.
Yeah, sorry, that wasn't just to be confirmed. That wasn't a Royale cross, was it?
No, it was Højbjerg. That's why. That's why.
I mean, that's probably why the goalie didn't save it, because all his prep work, he was like getting across on my left hand side. Nah, it's not gonna work.
I'm looking at the cockerel up there.
Yeah. I've got the paper. I've got Das Bild out. I'm reading about the German stock market.
I mean, I don't think
I was going to say, it's interesting to get a decent cross in from the right. We need Højbjerg, who's playing centrally on the left, to run all the way down to the opposite corner flag and cross it in.
There we go.
You know, I'm not Højbjerg's biggest fan, but I've got to kind of grudgingly admit he's having a good season.
He's having a good season so far. We just need to not burn him out like Jose did.
He's in that tier at the moment, below your De Bruyne's and who else. He's right at the top. He's definitely below that top tier, but he's right
a bit lower than that, I reckon.
There's that tier of player. He's not in there, but he's right at the top of that kind of next bracket in the Premier League at the moment.
JP, have you had a bowl of contradictory cornflakes this morning? Because on the one hand, you're saying the goalie should have done better, and then on the other hand, you're saying Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is just below Kevin De Bruyne. Come on.
Mate, he's just sleep deprived, I think. This one's for you, DaveO, I think. Only Barry Danes could have saved that.
Barry Danes, yeah, that's right, because we got rid of Pat Jennings to the Gooners, and we replaced him with Barry Danes, and then Mark Kendall, Lexic, and then brought in a goalie who was older than Pat Jennings, Ray Clements. So Barry Danes, what a player he was.
That was one of his strangest moves, it has to be said, by Mr. Birkinshaw, who was a great manager, but that was an odd one.
Yeah, he admitted it, and a shout out to Shergar and his first appearance. Shergar's first appearance about 30 years since being kidnapped by the IRA. Move on, sorry.
Only 30 years?
40, whatever.
50 or well, but yeah, late 70s,
early 80s. It was Shergar.
Was it early 80s? Was it? Okay, fair enough. Who wrote this?
No. Caller's not going to come because Elton's not here. That's the only reason he'd want to come on.
Caller didn't even know who Elton was. He's too young. Apparently, he's not even middle-aged.
According to Caller,
his blue rinse.
According to Caller, there was no civilization before the Premier League anyway. So there you go. He'll only be jealous of my man cave.
Here he is coming.
Oh.
Maybe we'll play the introduction music just for him again.
Is he your special guest, really?
Yeah.
He's wearing an Elton Welsby wig.
Yeah.
He's got the northern accent at least.
Yeah, that's right.
He's going to tell us all about Everton, isn't he, Caller? That'd be interesting. So, half-time 3-1. Second half, I went to work, so I didn't really see much of it, apart from the highlights.
Congratulations.
So I'll just jump to the the 2-2 was booked twice in 3 minutes, and the referee seemed to forget that he actually booked him when he had to send him off. What was the first foul like?
I mean, it was one of the first one. Son just beat him. Son cut inside and he stuck his leg out. Like there was no malice to it. He just wanted to stop him. But it was a yellow card. The second one, Son found himself goal side and Tuji just pulled him back. But the reason why the referee, I think, was a bit unsure is because he wanted to book two players. There were two challenges within about 5 seconds of each other. And so he was ready to book both. And then, I think Richarlison was the first one over and was like, hang on, you booked him like 3 minutes ago. He needs the second one. But he was just taking his time. At one point, I think Bentancur kind of pointed at his little pocketbook and said, look, that's his name here. You've already written it once. But yeah, the second one was extremely stupid. The first one was just lazy. But the second one was, I don't want to play anymore kind of tackle. It was a clear second yellow.
Yeah, I mean, the next question here, DaveO, was should Hasabi have had a second yellow as well? And I think HG's pretty much answered it. That the answer was yes. So they could have easily been down to 9 men.
Yes, the answer's yes.
Thank you for coming.
Well, Hasabi injured himself in that tackle as well. He's now out for a few weeks. So Frankfurt fans are really annoyed. But yeah, he's out until after the World Cup. And maybe he can't go to the World Cup now. He might have gone. I don't know. I mean, my knowledge of the Japanese World Cup possible squad isn't where I want it to be. But yeah,
HG, if you're going to retain your crown this year as broadcaster of the year, you need to kind of up your game. What's the matter with you?
My favourite memory when I commentated on the World Cup in 2014, I think it was the night that England lost to either Italy or Uruguay. But there was like 4 games at one night, and I did 3 of them. And so like 3:30 in the morning Vienna time, I was commentating on Ivory Coast versus Japan. And I had no idea who anyone was really. I mean, the Ivory Coast players I had a fair idea of. But the Japanese ones was not my finest moment. And he probably played in that. But yes, I've got a month or so to get up on things before the World Cup starts.
Yeah, fair enough. Are you doing some commentary again?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so this time. I mean, I don't. Like the games are at a much nicer time to watch them this time around. When it was in Brazil, some of them were, if it was super late over there, then it was really early here, and they weren't so much fun. I think a couple of the England games started at midnight, my time.
The Italy game started at 11 p.m. this time, so it would have been midnight your time. Yeah, because it was going to be 1 o'clock in the morning, and they moved it forward by 2 hours. I seem to remember. Yeah. Wasn't that in the plate? There's a city that it was played like it's miles up the Amazon. They had to.
Oh, Manaus. Manaus.
They had to put they built the stands and had to put them up on in parts on the barges up the Amazon to build them. Just
up the Amazon. Is that a carry-on film with Steve James?
Starring Sandro and Brendan.
JP, I'm really sorry. I mean, we're 28 minutes in. We've had the most obscure English references for 28 minutes. Sorry, mate.
We started off with talking about things that occurred 20 years before I was born, and then we've gone into all British references. It's been a great show to be on.
We've talked about a horse that got kidnapped by the IRA. So sorry about that.
Given what's happened to the Irish women's team this week, we probably should keep quiet on the IRA. I just want to answer this. Toxic, we will be doing a preview of Everton in a little bit once we've done the Frankfurt.
Once we've hit the 90s, we'll be there shortly.
We're nearly through 84.
I'm just going to get out my school report from 85 and we'll move on.
Won't succeed, is that it? Yeah. Next.
Then we had... that's a bit harsh. Anyway, carry on.
I got it in there. Skippy and Bassoon were on after 67 minutes for Richie and Bentancur. Did Skippy come and play on the right wing?
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
No. Well, that's what I was driving to work on the radio. They were saying Skip said please be playing in Richarlison's position on the right wing.
No, we went 3-5-2.
Right,
Kane and Son were up top, and we had the 3 in midfield, which would have been Højbjerg, Bissouma, and Skip.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember I think what was the last game when we played 3-5-2? Was it
Brighton? The only game.
Trying to remember the team. It wasn't Arsenal. Bentancur got right up high as well when we're in the formation. So I think that's just part of the role.
Yeah. Okay. I've just noticed Thomas Frank and De Zerbi both got yellow carded just before half time. They obviously had a bit of a spat on the touchline.
Or maybe they both just thought the referee was shit. and joined forces.
Who is
to
M.
screw-
Salisbury, whoever he is.
Yeah, well,
Don't know
there
who
you
he is.
go. If we don't know who he
Yeah.
is, J.M.
I mean, that's
Salisbury. What?
They put the new
Sainsbury.
Salisbury, as in the city near Winchester. Yeah. They do tend to put the new refs on those sort of games, don't they? Brighton against Brentford. And then obviously the saviour came on after 78 minutes. Eric was taken off, and on came Sanchez. So we knew that we'd be nice and tight at the back for those last 15 minutes.
Nothing screams
and then,
confidence like Davison Sanchez.
Yeah, and then Brian Hill and Lucas came on for Højbjerg and Sonny.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of minutes later, it was 3-2.
Mm.
So we managed to concede against 10 men.
Mm.
Who knew when you're away from home, 3-1 down, you can score a goal rather than just shutting up shop like we did at the Emirates.
The marking was appalling on that corner. And that's Romero. That was on Romero as well.
Yeah, but they don't mark. It's all zonal.
Well, you still got to mark.
Yeah, mark spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what zonal is.
Oh, that's right. I don't.
The trouble is with zonal is you do give the opportunity for a runner to head the ball.
Yeah, get your fullbacks on the posts, mark up man to man, just do it like that.
Fullbacks on the post. I don't think that would have stopped it. And then we saw the true Gil Messi moment as the Frankfurt player decided to backheel the ball to nobody, and there he is.
Yeah.
Shall I? Where's me? I've got a little quote about Gil Messi. But most importantly, what we've discovered is he no longer has a tash. And what did you say earlier?
Best game for Spurs.
Yeah, HG. What was your view on this?
What?
Well, do you remember when Gareth Bale first started at Spurs and all he did for the first 18 months was this, like fiddle with the bit of hair around, and once he cut his hair, he became the superstar. It was like, the kind of reverse Sanson thing. You do get the impression that if Brian, had a skin fade, did a Graham Potter or something a bit less Beatles, that maybe, I don't know, he'd be a bit more aerodynamic for a start. But it's kind of weird. He played all right. I don't remember thinking, wow, what a great player we've got for 10 minutes. But he won the penalty, and Kane didn't do. Yeah, Kane went into Vincent Janssen mode.
It reminded me of the penalty he took at Southampton a few years ago on New Year's Day. But that was because James Ward-Prowse jumped up and down the penalty spot and made it all uneven. I don't know if you remember that.
I didn't. To be honest, I only remembered I never remembered Kane missing a penalty. I obviously remembered saves, but not one over the bar like that. So if you said the one happened before, I'll believe you.
Yeah, we beat Southampton 4-1 on New Year's Day, and what was really annoying was a friend of mine offered me a free hospitality ticket. It was at Southampton, but I was flying back from Guernsey and I landed at Gatwick Airport about 5 minutes into the game, so I couldn't have gone. And we went 1-0 down quite early on, but we came back and won 4-1.
I'll tell you something,
twice.
John, this lifestyle that you lead, it's so rock and roll, flying into Guernsey.
Absolutely. Flying to Guernsey is just like Sydney, isn't it?
Yeah.
So much so. Just get rid of that. What did you think, JP, of the bit of skill to win the penalty?
I thought it was really good. I thought if he had it was a bit disappointing that it resulted in a penalty and he didn't get to get the shot off, because I think it would have been a great goal if he had got the shot off. But no, I thought it was really good. A little bright spark. If he can put on some muscle, maybe there's a player there.
No, there isn't. I mean, did you just say that he had his best game in the Spurs show? It was on my imagination.
Yeah, but it's off a very low bar.
I mean, tallest dwarf.
I mean, he's won a penalty, which is in no doubt the best thing he's done in a Spurs shirt.
I mean, when he came on last week for the away game, I honestly thought it was some competition winner plucked out of a Spanish primary school has been given a chance to run around against some muscular Germans, right? I mean, 25 million quid plus a fiver for the Mella. It's not going to work out.
Oh, God, here he comes. Here he comes.
He loves Gill.
I'll wait for him to tell himself. Shall we talk?
I will not have this. Brian Gill.
Jesus, that was loud.
Raining down on me. What am I doing in this box? And Dave, what are you talking about? Brian Hill, he's a legend in his own lunchtime.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to have an objective measure of success. In 3 years' time, we're talking about Brian Hill, and he's played regularly for us and he's an established member of the team. Then I will say to you, you're right. You're
He won a
absolutely right.
penalty. What more do you want from the lad? He's barely been on the pitch. You've not given him a chance.
Nor's our coach.
This is just, piffle. Right, I'm off to pour myself a drink. Be right back.
Don't forget your gherkin.
Turned up.
Do you not think that he was that passionate about
I brought my
having
garnish,
second
haven't I?
game?
Yeah.
Anyway. This is very odd with HG and Cooler at the bottom. It's very bizarre.
Switch it around, will you?
Oh, God. I don't want to make everyone dizzy.
No,
there you go. You go there. You go there.
But,
do you want to be bottom right, Dave? Or are you bottom left? You're happy?
If I'm hanging to the left, then that's fine.
I don't want to know about that. So anyway, here's the table.
Yep.
So HG, you've done all the permutations, haven't you? I mean, I have as well. But do you want to talk us through?
Well, the next games are Spurs at home against Sporting and Frankfurt at home against Marseille. I have a feeling if both of those games go to home wins, then Spurs will be top of the group regardless of what happens on the last game. So that's what we want. Spurs would be on 10, Frankfurt would be on 7, and obviously Sporting and Marseille wouldn't be able to catch us, and Frankfurt can't finish above us because we beat them on the head-to-head. So we would be top, guaranteed, if that was to happen. So, yes, that's what I want. I mean, it's like Spurs are clearly the best team there. I feel like Marseille, Sporting, and Frankfurt could play each other 20 times, and you'd get 6 wins, 6 draws, and 7 defeats. They're very much equal. But I obviously want Spurs and Frankfurt to go through.
Frankfurt need to turn up in the next game, don't they?
Yeah,
so are they home to Marseille, presumably, are they?
Yeah, they are home to Marseille. It's weird. The first game at home, they got beat 3-0 by Sporting, but it was much closer than the 3-0 scoreline would make you think. And then they went to Marseille and won, despite all the crowd trouble that there was. So it's they are a bit Jekyll this season. But with Frankfurt, they don't have a deep squad, really. And they don't have any wing backs or full backs of any note. And that's the problem. They had to play Jakic there, who's a central midfielder. And I think the left wing back is a guy that rarely plays. I think he's a left back by trade, but he doesn't feel comfortable having to. He can't attack like Kostic did last season.
That sounds familiar.
So they struggle a bit, but I'm surprised at how badly they played. To be honest, because I have seen them play even this season. I've seen them play very well. They beat the German league leaders 2.5 weeks ago, and then last week lost to the team that was bottom.
They did make a lot of changes, didn't they, for that?
They did. They made a few. They dropped most of their better players for that game at Bochum. But yeah,
or did we just play really well?
What, Spurs against Frankfurt? No, I don't think so. I think we played okay. I think Frankfurt made some stupid mistakes, which obviously contributed to the fact that they had to play it off, and some of our goals were quite simple. I think Spurs played well. But I don't think we were any great shakes. I think we just took advantage of the opportunities Frankfurt gave us.
Cooler, did you? What was your view on the second half when he obviously made a lot of substitution. He basically admitted he made a mistake, almost took the foot off the gas because we could have drawn that game quite easily.
I think it's difficult though, isn't it? Because even with those substitutions, you would still expect that team to dominate 10 men. So it's a difficult one. It obviously is thinking about the weekend. You've got to try and keep the players fresh. And that's why you have a squad, don't you? You have quality on the bench. And we have got quality on the bench. Let's be fair. Like, those players aren't out of place playing against Frankfurt. It's probably more about game time that some of them have had that led to the issues. And it's just very typical Spurs, isn't it? You know, we could be 10-0 up at half time. We'd still win, 10-9 or something. We always make it difficult for ourselves. So I wasn't in the least bit surprised. In fact, I was called off by my daughter. I left early. Yeah, get that in there. Because my daughter was screaming and I had to go and comfort her. And I didn't even realise Kane missed a penalty. That's a collector's item. But the footage from behind the goal was outstanding. Someone took that ball almost full on in the mush. It was like he was rifling at people.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Evening, Richo. Nice to see you. At least one Everton fan's turned up this evening. I'm like,
where is this guest? I was,
no idea. No idea. It's annoying because I spent half time on Wednesday just before I went to work on a chat with him on a video on this software trying to get him set up as well. So I don't know where he's gone.
Oh, do you want me to pretend to be like an Evertonian or something? I like them, mate.
Right, your portfolio of accents once more impresses us all.
Fucking hell, Dave.
Okay, so in the comments, can you please put which accent you'd like Caller to do? Let's just come up with a few. We'll have a go. Or he can have a go.
English.
Oh, you see, this is a little dig from McGurty. I'm ignoring you, HG. That's a sly little dig from McGurty because, unfortunately, due to my daughter being poorly, I had to bail on the podcast on Wednesday. I know you're really sad. I know you missed me on the pod. I miss you too, man. I'll be back at some point next week, maybe.
It's been a sore couple of weeks.
And asked me.
Hey, John,
everyone's leaving him. He did message me, but I was at work at that point, so I thought it's best not to go live on a pod with 600 drunk students around.
Yeah, you're not special, John. He messaged me as well. I was at work as well, but not with 600 drunk students. Well, I'm not special either, and I wasn't with 600 drunk students at work.
I rate
if
this
you were,
garnish.
I'd be worried.
So would I.
This garnish is legendary tonight, I have to say.
Is it? What have you got tonight? You tell us.
I've already told you, oranges.
Oh, okay.
Orange slices.
Very exciting.
Keep it simple.
Okay.
It's lovely.
Jack will be back next Friday. You'll be pleased to know. So you can show off your garnish as much as you like then.
Can I just touch on this? It's a good job that you can really, because Sandro has got lots of other men, and you don't seem to be in the picture all these days, Brent.
You're a harsh man.
I'm in another chat with Brendan, and he was getting very upset about the kit man. The kit man was getting a lot of Sandro, apparently.
What? Stevie Dukes?
Is that his name? Yeah,
Stevie
kit man
Dukes,
was getting a lot of Sandro. So read into that what you will. I think he was a little bit sad, Brendan, but.
So it's been quite a political day, isn't it, today in the UK? All sorts happening, and we understand Nuno might be having a new job soon.
Hey. I'm wondering where you were going with that. Well done.
And he'll be looking after our taxes. Don't worry, he'll be all over it.
Him and Harry Redknapp could do a job. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, Harry Redknapp's dog, don't you mean?
Rosie.
Shall we quickly talk about this? So this rumor about Google and the stadium came out the other day, and I was like, I don't really understand what the benefit to Google is and for the amount of money it's going to cost them. But DiMarzio tweeted this, I think, this morning or yesterday, saying that it could well be done. And now obviously Spurs Twitter have gone off on one, all saying has everyone Googled that and all that sort of thing.
Is this a respected Italian journalist? Because I think that's some great investigative reporting there. He's saying that if we do a deal with Google, the stadium could be called Google Stadium. That's bloody genius. That is.
I mean, he is a respected Italian journalist. Cool. What's your view on this?
There's no smoke without fire. I'm surprised that Google, like you say, would want to sponsor the stadium, especially with Danny Rose having moved on. So I don't really understand the purpose of it. I'd still be slightly surprised. I think Steve Diver's shout of Bank of America or something like that would be more realistic. But I mean, there does appear to be some legs in it if you listen to the amount of noise that's coming out, especially with the Athletic. And in fairness, they're fairly reliable and don't put stuff out there without decent sources. So at the end of the day, if Alphabet exactly, Alphabet is Google really, but I know Google's now a subsidiary, but that's how it started. But at the end of the day, Alphabet, Google, whatever you want to call it, I'm pretty sure they'll be stumping up some cash, some big cash if they do take that sponsorship deal. They've got the money to do it, haven't they? Let's be honest. They're one of the biggest companies in the world. So a couple of $100 million is chicken feed to them.
There's no doubt about the money, is there? Go on, JP.
No, they've got a proof fund.
I was just going to say on the what's in it for Google, if it is going to be Google, I'd imagine like a Google Nest or something as a naming as a name would be more fitting, where you tie it to a product, or maybe it's the YouTube stadium, or so it's their own YouTube.
I mean, because no one's ever heard of YouTube, so
no, you need to. But I mean, YouTube are obviously trying to take share in different areas, so there's
But
always
I don't think it's going to be, the naming rights aren't going to be given to a company that we've never heard of. Like the Stadium Atlanta is what? Mercedes-Benz. I think we know who they are too. It's more, maybe there's some prestige in it. I mean, obviously because we've got, so many sports to take place there, Google will be there. The name will be there regardless.
Yeah.
So as much as I'd like it to be the, what, Terry's Cupcakes Stadium, it's going to be something that we've heard of almost certainly.
The Twinkies Arena,
Mrs. Miggins Pie Shop Stadium.
I'm more than happy with the Google one. I mean, look,
it could be worse.
We're on Google now. This is our platform, so it's a good thing. It's a big company. They got oodles of cash. I think Levy can squeeze the pips out of them. I'm quite sure. I think it's not a bad shout whatsoever. And at Google, I've got some form for this because I can't remember off the top of my head, but they do quite a few big sponsorship deals, especially stateside. The NFL exposure is massive.
Good one. Well done, Adrian. Coming at the night.
Yeah, that is absolutely good. But look, we need every penny to compete against national states, don't we? Ultimately,
that cinema won't build itself. Let's get the naming rights.
I was going to say the next question is, what are we going to spend the money on, Dave?
The cinema. We need that chalk ice.
I think that's already funded, isn't it?
Chalk ices and cornettos.
Peanut sellers in the stands and chalk ices in the cinema. Yeah, Dave is a very modern man.
He's so old, honestly.
That piano for the silent movies that I like to watch, it's just not going to pay for itself. Come on.
I do like your shirt, by the way, tonight, Dave. That's very fetching.
Thank you. As always, I organised the usual Enoch out demonstration on the high road, and then popped into the Spurs shop to get my duck and the sign and
is that what the props are for tonight? Yeah.
It's
his man cave.
That's my man cave. It's a tribute to you. It's a subprime man cave.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Beautiful. I mean, look. Well, but serious question. What do you think they'll spend the money on? Will it go into the team? I mean, my theory is it'll be used to pay off some of the stadium debt. To be honest.
Yeah, it's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money on the overall.
We don't know how much it is. I would imagine it's. Go on. What are you going to say?
Well, it depends what you think it is, because no one really knows. No one knows how to price it. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers that we've seen banded around are like 250 million for 20 years or something.
No, I think it was 250 for 10. I think this whole idea of 25 million per season was what Levy wanted. But logically, I suspect that if the 25 million pays off whatever the interest is on the loans we've got, then great. That's done.
No, you got to think of it this year. We're getting 25 million a year for 10 years. That's 10 Emerson Royales. That's what we're going to spend the money on.
That's what we've got to look forward. Or 10 Spencers to sit and gather some dust. I think
almost spat my drink out there.
The interest is, as Adrian puts it, is about 14 million a year.
But we can pay over that, right?
I mean, we're at the moment we're interest only. We're on an interest only mortgage, so I think there's no requirement for us to make capital repayments. I think for the first 10 years. So
I really would like to get a signed copy of the debt facility, frame it, and get it stuck on your man cave. You love that debt facility.
Well, I already got a book on how to do a barbecue, because so why not? I'll take that. But why would you pay it back, I suppose, when you've got that kind of
No, you don't need to, but the point is that it's there, right? So if you don't make Champions League and you don't make anything, you have a really bad season for whatever reason, that's taken care of. You don't have to worry anymore. I see a couple of comments from people saying it's not going to be going towards the team. I think we will spend money on the team. The idea is the plan is 50 million a year, but now we've got 75. It's not going to be that black and white.
No,
but it is going to be.
But the problem is fans look at it like it's that black and white generally, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, again, like it's to them, it's all about how
lot of
not all about what how much we're spending. But I saw a guy on Twitter saying, like they've got to be ambitious signings, and you're like, what does that mean, right? Like we've got to do what Man United did, when they bought striker after striker to replace the ones that left, and it's like, well, but we're not Man United, like as awful as that sounds. Like when Man United did that in the 90s and 2000s with Ferguson, they were the best team in the country and had like the most money to spend
and the pick everyone wanted to go.
Exactly, and we won't. Even if we have all the money in the world, we won't be someone's first choice because we can't guarantee the things that United could have done back then.
I mean, what did we spend in the transfer market this year? This window gone was a bit like 150 million or something.
It depends if you count the 40 million for Romero and the other people.
Well, an accountant would.
Yeah, it's a fair chunk. I mean, like the Richarlison deal was what 50 plus add-ons.
Yeah,
and who else? I mean, I don't even remember who.
Bissouma
was what 25 plus add-ons.
Spence 12.5.
Yeah, so we didn't spend a fortune, but compared to a lot of clubs, we did. I think people just look at Forest and think, "Wow, they've spent all this money." Well, they didn't have much choice, and
they spent 100 million last year. They didn't spend 100 million last year or the year before.
Right.
So
yeah. Hopefully, it will be spent wisely. I guess that's all I care about.
I think Adrian's got this right. Money from naming rights will be added to our total revenue, and then the sum will be allocated for transfers.
Obviously, it gets added to your revenue.
Yeah. But it'll just be if we have the 20 million, if we have 25 million extra each year, because if we don't need to pay the debt off, surely we're going to spend it trying to improve the club and the value of the club.
Yeah, and we got a new media centre we're building at a training ground or something like that as well.
I think that's baked into the I don't think that would be.
Yeah, the head of property development at Tottenham is going to be a busy guy over the next year or so.
We're selling Winks to pay for that, so
How's he getting on? Does anyone know how Harold?
He hasn't played. He's injured.
He's injured. Yeah.
Winks and Reguilon, neither of them has played a minute since they've been on loan. They're both still injured.
Really?
His manager was quoted saying something along the lines of, "I don't even see him at training. He trains for 30 minutes and then he's on the doctor's desk."
I think himself lucky, to be honest. My eyes were bleeding.
Sampdoria's own Kim Karlstrom, by the sounds of it. But,
I mean, yeah, exactly.
This one's for you, mate. What's the atmosphere like in the stadium now? It comes across as quite quiet sometimes on TV.
I saw a question on Twitter. It was a question on Twitter. It was a poll about the atmosphere in the stadium compared to the White Hart Lane. And my answer would be, it's exactly the same as it's always been. So White Hart Lane, everyone has, I think absence makes the heart grow fonder, and everyone has these misty-eyed memories of White Hart Lane under the lights and some fantastic nights there. And there were some fantastic nights there. But we've had fantastic nights against Arsenal, City, Ajax, with the stadium absolutely rocking. It's exactly the same as it's always been in my time at Spurs. My 20 whatever years of supporting Spurs. When we're doing all right, it's very loud. When we go a goal behind to Brighton after 10 minutes, it's dead as a door now. So I do genuinely think that is. I mean, you guys give your view. You, Dave, HG, you've been to lots of games. So what's your view? Because I would say it's no better or worse than it ever has been, and it's always a bit flaky, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I feel that way. Like the bigger the team we're playing, the more the fans are involved. So if the fans think it's a big game, they'll sing. If they think it's a game that we should probably win, they don't really get involved until Spurs are doing something, and that's there. That is the way it's always been. So, like, as much as I had some people complain that the Frankfurt fans, because they sang all the time, it became white noise and didn't really mean anything. But I would much rather have that. I would much rather have Spurs fans actually like wanting to influence the game, even if it's not, but at least wanting to, rather than just sitting there watching it as if they're at home. Right?
I mean, I was at Marseille. I wasn't at Frankfurt, and I am going to the last at Sporting. But I can only say the Marseille fans didn't stop the whole 90 minutes, and you get that a lot from continental teams. The support is pretty fanatical. The people that come over, the ultras, and they normally have a guy at the front doing the conducting and all the rest of it, and they just don't stop for the whole 90 minutes. English football isn't generally like that. And
I mean, generally though, when we go away in Europe, our fans don't.
they
tend to
make
stop
lots of
singing.
noise, but they're not as organised. But
And they don't do the Poznan and all that lot.
Yeah, and what I would say is, I take your point actually, but it's fucking annoying to listen to. I've got to be honest. Like they sing the same. Marseille sang the same goddamn song for 90 minutes.
They're not doing it to entertain you, caller.
No, but
It's not about entertainment.
Team. I'd much rather listen to a medley of hits than the same one on repeat.
It's not like a Coldplay gig where you can get on a bike at the side of the stadium and power generate Chris Martin's electronic bands or whatever. That's
you read about that, did you? Yeah,
I know about that, mate. Don't you worry about that.
Oh, good. Maybe you've been
Right.
a secret fan.
Because Dave's private message is saying, should we get on with the Everton preview? Should we get on with the Everton preview?
I didn't
It was
private message
HG
that.
actually, I think.
No, not at all. So Everton currently sitting 12th on 10 points, pretty much mid-table. Scored 8 in 9 games though, conceded 9. So that not in a lot of many high-scoring games for them. Brentford have got a couple more points ahead of them tonight because they've won 2-0.
Yeah,
go on, actually.
Are Everton this season's Wolves?
Possibly.
They look like.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Lampard's done what he needed to do was tighten them up at the back because they were just shipping goals, weren't they? As they did against us back in was it March? We beat them 5-0.
And signing Wolves' centre back is exactly how he's done it.
Well, and Burnley centre back.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they normally play a 4-3-3. Obviously, we know Gordon got his 5th booking last week, so he's out, which is quite fortunate. Does anyone have any idea who might replace Gordon? I don't know if Richo's still in the comments.
Graham Sharp, I think.
Graham Sharp, yeah. He's even older than you, Dave.
I remember him. Yeah, Tony Cottee.
I have a feeling Wobie will probably move out wide and they'll bring.
Well, Wobie's been their best player.
Yeah.
Wobie's been revived this season, so in some ways you don't want to lose him from midfield. That might
I think they just got better options to replace in midfield than they do up front. So,
yeah,
is Townsend still there?
He's injured.
Oh.
He got quite a bad injury. Let me just find.
And how long's Calvert-Lewin been out for?
Since last year.
Him and Bamford seem to be constantly injured.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Calvert-Lewin is not on the will not play list, so he might be fit.
Yeah, I think King Hoddle's
Patterson,
right.
the right back.
It'll be McNeil. McNeil will probably come in.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, Dwight McNeil. Good shout. Al Pasha's got it. Yeah, Danny Cannon Archery. That's an old school one. Oh, Brendan.
Gordon's alive.
Isn't Tanana a goalie versatile?
Very good.
No one can have the same name. Patterson, the young right back, who's been really good this season, is injured. So you've got Coleman. So Sonny's got to be able to take Coleman on, surely. Because what's he, 34, 35 now?
34, I think, yeah.
HG, they play your favourite back four as well, so surely we're going to get at them.
I do like that. I mean, this is it. They're set with their back four. I think that will suit us. But of course, we'll probably play 3-5-2 now, and it won't matter so much. Is it like? I think Richarlison's going to play against Everton? Surely,
yeah.
Right? Surely he's going to play.
He likes that.
He got man of the match, didn't he? He got man of the match midweek.
Well, no, I think Sessegnon did stupidly.
Sessegnon.
But
he definitely got player of the match in some ranking because I saw him tweeting about it. So I think there's about 4 different
in the
player
Sun ranking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Called on his tea break.
I think HG will play 3-4-3. My worry is the whole getting outmanned in midfield because obviously we know Gay and Onana are very mobile, very strong. So we've really got to be on the ball.
Do you think you'll pick Bentancur and Højbjerg again? Do you think you'll still experiment with that? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that new pairing you're talking about, Dave, yeah?
That's right.
You mentioned earlier. Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely. That team does screen average, but it is very organised. And that's the problem. We're not always brilliant at breaking down organised teams. Caller, Jack is in the chat. Good evening, Jack. Would you like to show him your
it's nothing that exotic. There's no rosebuds in it tonight, but we have got some oranges in the gin tonight. I need some more ice, but out of respect for these guys, I don't want to leave my chair while we're having a serious conversation.
It's just a cup of water. We all know that.
It is not actually. I've got
Pint of gin.
I've got this. This is Cotton Garden Gin from Yorkshire. Lovely little drop. And I've had these sent through. These are 3 cents tonic water. It's artisan tonic water. I love reading the blurb on these things, right? So this says 3 cents beverages are inspired by the late 19th century soda fountain culture and artisanal production. By combining high quality spring water with the finest natural ingredients, we've created premium beverages equally suitable for mixing long drinks and cocktails or enjoying them on their own.
Sounds like
we're going to have to flag this as sponsored content now, Caller.
Yeah, quite.
Well, they're not paying and they weren't free, so there you go. Yeah.
Jack also agrees with the Save Emerson
I love a blurb
concept.
Save him from what?
The disrespect, I think. Also, Jack, you've missed Dave dissing Gil Messi already, so he likes to send Dave a few WhatsApps about Gil Messi on the occasion.
He's obsessed with Gil Messi.
He's a little bit obsessed.
Yeah.
Right, here you go. Here's Everton's form. So they had 3 respectable draws. I think drawing at Brentford's a good result. Going to Leeds, who are very up and down. Draw against Liverpool, good result. Beating West Ham, always a good result. Beating West Ham, whatever. And they beat Southampton, and then I thought they were very poor in what I saw against Manchester United. I don't know if anyone else saw that game. HG?
I saw the goal. Everton's goal was pretty good. Iwobi found the top corner from 25 yards. So it was a decent goal.
He's in form.
But that record screams mid-table, doesn't it?
It does scream mid-table, and not a lot of goals. So if we can score 2, we win the game. It would be my logic, as long as Dyer doesn't do again what he did on Wednesday twice.
Yeah, he's still prone to a cock up, isn't he? Not doing his England chances any good.
Yeah. So team use for us. So Sessegnon picked up a little knock in training yesterday, having returned from a hamstring problem. Spurs are awaiting results from a scan, so he could be out for a while, depending on what happens with that.
But Mora's back. No, that's good news.
Lucas is back. I mean, that's excellent news. Yeah,
Yes.
Gives us another option off the bench.
And then
Don't drop the
right
quality.
wing back.
Right wing
I was very pleased with Matthew Doherty last season when he struggled, but then he became a really important player for us. Also, Jed, he's working and improving, and he's starting to understand which the demand to stay at Tottenham. What is the demand? Sorry. So, does that mean 6 months before we see Spence?
What does that mean? Just break it down.
The demand to stay at Tottenham.
So basically, he's starting to understand the system and what he needs to do.
No, that's not how I read it.
I don't read it. I read it as is. He's falling into line, basically.
Right. Okay.
I don't know what you think, HG.
It reads to me that Spence has been, on the lash a bit or partying and not really taking it very seriously. And Conte's basically said, if you want to stay here, this is what you got to do. And maybe he's turned that around and starting to do those things. That's what that reads as. Obviously, as an Italian speaking English, maybe that doesn't mean that at all. But to me, that's what it says. He's starting to understand the demand to stay at Tottenham, not to play, but to stay at Tottenham.
Yeah.
Which is to play for me.
Yeah, I don't read too much into it. He's simply saying that the players in question have got to work harder to get into the team. It's not difficult, is it?
He's simply saying you're not going to see Spence for the next 12 months. Stop asking me.
Pretty much, yeah. That's a good answer. Well, I think he might play in the Forest League Cup game potentially.
Yeah, it's all romantic. Yeah,
everyone's always talking about this Forest League Cup game. It's like we're going to just pile everyone in who hasn't played whatsoever, and we're all going to get on the coach up to the Foresters ground, and they're all.
It's only the League Cup, mate.
Are we going?
Colchester United, doesn't it?
We're all going on a Jolly Boys Day out tonight.
I might go.
We're going in the cheese room coach.
Yes.
Doesn't take long to get to Nottingham from here.
Thank you.
Stay in the man cave.
Thank you for that. And how was the £4 million swimming pool that you swam in at Pontins? 40 million pounds.
I'll get it right.
It was Butlins, not Pontins as well.
Butlins, not Pontins. Come on, I've got some class.
How was the swimming pool you swam in that cost
Hey,
more
for a
than
full
Emerson
review,
Royale?
you should check out my channel. At
Your
Butlins
channel?
Trawler.
You've got a YouTube channel at Butlins Trawler. Good God. The whole thing was invented for.
I'll tell you after the show. I'm pretty sure no one here wants to hear a review of a swimming pool, unless Emerson Royale's going in the deep end.
Mm.
Did you guys know that stat? I didn't. Weird, huh?
I lost in 12 unlost goals.
Wow.
Wow.
I knew we'd won every game at home this season.
Oh, hold on. We've got a super chat from Jack.
There you go.
Dave's thoughts on Conte saying Gil Messi has improved on the physical aspect. He said he doesn't need to teach him anything else.
He's ready.
Picture?
He's ready.
There you go.
Right.
There it is. I ask players coming in only to give me the opportunity to be relaxed if they play.
Yeah.
Gil is getting stronger.
So passive aggressive, isn't he? He's so passive.
Gil
Look,
is
he's definitely getting stronger because when Conte's asked him to move one of the tables in the canteen so that everyone could sit around the table, Eric Dyers needed to help
over his head.
Eric Dyers needed to help Gil move the table, and now he can do it all on his own. So he's definitely getting stronger. So it's great news at 25 million quid.
I got to be honest. Yeah, I think Gil Messi will get more game time than you think this season. Actually, Dave.
Because between the middle of November and just after Christmas.
Well, how many appearances has he had this season? 2, 3.
Yeah. As I said, let's talk about him in 2 to 3 years' time when he's played 25 games a season.
We build, we move on. He won a penalty in the Champions League. What have you done with your life?
That's very The Office. That's very The Office.
Okay, what have you done with your life? If we're going to do this, Human Son scored a great volley during the week. What have you done with your life?
I tell you something. I could sit and talk about that goal all year. You wouldn't believe me, but it was.
Is that your definition of doing something with your life? Okay.
It was very satisfying. I've got to be honest. Scoring a goal like that is like making love.
Was it did you hit the sweet spot?
The ball came out. It was spinning a lot. And with my left peg, my weak foot, caught it absolutely plumb. Didn't touch the ground, just flew into the bottom right-hand corner. Keeper didn't even move.
And then the police were called. The police were called and are asking why you were playing in an under-11 football match.
Yeah, you got a restraining order. Get out of there, caller.
I mean, JP would have been told off for that if he hadn't moved as a keeper when he was in.
Yeah.
The ball was in the net before the keeper even saw it.
Well, that's exactly what happened to Sonny, wasn't it?
Position.
Yeah. And Adrian's saying, no swimming pool injuries, please, caller. We know you're like.
Well, never had a swimming pool injury.
Darren is shouting for a start. He's very disappointed.
Hi, Darren. Tell us your issues.
Apart from his crosses, he has been disappointment. I don't think we have flowed when Perisic plays.
I think there's points here. Go on, HG. I need eyes, baby.
I don't think the football has flowed at all this season, regardless of who's on the pitch, really. Whether it's Perisic or Sessegnon. I saw someone say that Son hasn't scored when Perisic has been on the pitch, therefore those two don't work. And I'm like, well, we're talking about what? A period of 102 minutes? Yeah. So it's like Perisic will thrive if we can give him the ball in the final third, and we haven't been able to do that often. Suddenly, in the last couple of games, we've been able to do it, but Sessegnon's been playing and we've been rubbish. So it's, I think Perisic, the quality is clearly there, but if we ask him to play in his own half, we're not going to see what people want to see from him because he's never been the fastest. But I think if we can get him to decent crossing positions, then the quality will come through.
So, Dave, you need to read that, and I'll take it down in a second.
What was that? What?
Adrian's comment.
What did Adrian say?
He said, Son cried when Caller scored.
Yeah. What we're talking about. Perisic has been a bit disappointing. I mean, the early part. Well, I know we're in the early part of the season, but he's beating a man, getting a decent cross in. Those things are good. Not seen very often in the rest of our wing backs. But his defending is very poor.
But I mean, the
Even
thing
these
is,
crosses, though.
I mean, Spurs have been disappointing. Like the results have been great, but generally speaking, we've not played wonderful football, and we've not given when you see Emerson Royal gets into the final third all the time because the other team want him to. They allow him to have the ball, but they don't want Perisic to have it. So I just, like if you're looking at end product, then maybe it's not what you would expect. But Spurs in general haven't been great, and if we want our wing backs to actually produce, you've got to put them in the area of the pitch where they can. Sorry, JP.
No, I
I don't think Perisic has been terrible, by the way. Perisic has been.
I don't think his crossing's been as great as everyone's been saying as well. I think it's just we've got a really low bar for
about 3 or 4 assists, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does. But if you think about them more, they're all kind of like floated somewhere near the back post, and someone's managed to knot it on.
I think being harsh.
I don't think there's been much when we think about our wing backs and what we want them doing. It's that kind of drilling balls across the box to the other side, running in. And we've gotten every time he's attempted that, he hasn't come off.
Yeah, I think a lot of us remember the corner at Chelsea, which was like incredibly good. And then the Wolves game was the week after, and that was when it was flicked on and Kane scored, and we all thought, okay, we're going to see something. I just feel as if, I mean, I've said it. I feel like if you can get those players into an areas where they'll hurt teams, then you'll see what we signed. But like Perisic, when he played at Inter, was never a defensive left back. I mean, they a wing back. They had other options that would come in to play those games. So it's maybe against Everton we'll see him, but it's a weird one because
he's a winger.
But now we've got the young kid coming in, right? Like you think that at some point he will take over. So maybe we won't see the best of Perisic at all, but I still think it's a better option than Sessegnon for almost every game.
He's a quality player. I mean, I want to see him actually deployed higher up the pitch. I think he's a great option if you want to switch Son out, play him at the top, in a 3 on the left. Absolutely. And I think we have done that once, but
we did that at Arsenal, didn't we? When we took,
I think so, but I think you've just got to write that game off a little bit to a degree. I think he gives you another option further up the pitch. I think Conte realizes that the season's very long. We've played a handful of games, really. We're not even a third of the way. We're not even a third of the way in. So I think there's a long way to go, and you'll see the best of Perisic. He's a class player. You shouldn't be worried about Perisic. There's far more pressing issues in that team to worry about than him.
Such as
much as I think people are still making too much of a deal over that kind of Son Perisic thing. I do think there is something in it in terms of the spaces Son would typically like to occupy because Perisic is a more advanced wing back. He tends to be in, so he's had to kind of find out where he needs to be. But it's not a concern. It's just them kind of learning how to play together.
I don't think that's true either. I think the end product's been far better than Emerson. But there you go. I'm sure there's some stats around to prove the point as well.
Yeah, I mean,
so
to the point.
Shall we discuss? So, are we all thinking he'll go 3-4-3? Anyone think 3-5-2 is going to happen? No.
Nah.
I could see 3-5-2 if he rests Kane, but he won't rest Kane. So
he's not going to rest Kane, is he?
He should rest Kane.
He should.
At some point, he needs to. Ideally, we get 3-0 up and he takes Kane off. But knowing us, we'll probably drag it out and be 2-1 after 80 minutes or something and have to leave him on. So, Davis.
I think that's doing Everton slight disrespect, John.
No, they're very well organised. They are very well organised. They don't score a lot of goals. We've got to score first, and hopefully they'll come out a little bit, and then it plays into our hands. Lenglet or Davis? JP, who's going to start?
Who played Brighton? Was it Lenglet?
No, Davis did, I think.
Davis.
And Lenglet played on Wednesday.
I think Lenglet will play again.
Thanks, G.
I think Davis will play.
1-1. Caller?
Davis will play. Lenglet should play.
Davo?
Davis for the Premier League, Lenglet for Europe.
Okay.
Dave, how's Lenglet look to you?
He's brilliant. Great player.
So, one of my questions for the run sheet actually is, do you think we should, if we have an option to sign him now, would you sign him? permanently?
No.
Okay.
What on the basis of what? The fact that you don't want to be proven wrong.
Like you don't want to be proven wrong about Jed Spence.
What do you mean?
You've been moaning about signing Jed Spence for months now.
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
No, I
you
haven't.
have.
No,
Yes,
I
you
haven't.
have.
No.
You have.
Hang on. I've never moaned about the signing of Jed Spence. I've moaned about people getting very carried away and thinking he's going straight in the first team. I've always said you've got to have a pot of money for future potential, of which Jed Spence is one, and you've got a pot of money to improve the team. Absolutely, that's what I've always said.
Our track record of signing potential is not very good.
But it's got to change at some point, hasn't it?
The law of averages would suggest that. Look, Longley, I wouldn't sign him now. No.
Well, yeah, but on what basis?
On the basis that as I said, let's see. I just don't rate him. Simple.
What? Yeah, but based on what? It's got to be
based on the fact
something.
that I think when he is going to get really tested in the Premier League, he will be found wanting. So I would just play him in Europe, where it'd be better suited for him.
At the higher level of the Champions League, yeah.
Well, not at the moment. I mean, those teams, this group that we're in is eminently beatable.
Weirdly enough, I kind of agree with Dave on this. I don't think there's any reason to go out and sign him.
No.
Surely.
I don't know what his contract situation at Barcelona is. Clearly, they don't want him. So why would we spend money to buy someone they really don't want when we could probably loan him again if
he's
we
on a shitload of cash?
Would you take him on loan?
Again, like if Conte can't go out and get the players that he wants, which is clearly what he couldn't do last summer with Bastoni, then maybe Lenglet will come in again. But yeah, I mean, maybe Lenglet will do enough. But I certainly wouldn't be thinking about it in the middle of October. I will think about it maybe in middle of March, middle of April. But I just think that he's done nothing wrong. He's been actually pretty good. But I don't know if Conte wants him long term and sees him as a long term option. So we're miles away from signing him permanently.
No, and he played, I think, 21 times in La Liga last season. He wasn't a starter in an extremely poor Barcelona team. So what does that tell you?
Well, it tells you that.
All these voices at once. What's going on?
It's just it tells you that whoever was manager of Barcelona last season didn't want him, but whoever was manager of Juventus last season didn't want Kulusevski or Bentancur. So it doesn't really tell you much, just apart from that.
Yeah, stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
It's not an indicator of quality that somebody lots of people like Lamela doesn't mean he's any good.
It always comes back to Lamela with you, doesn't it?
Always, it's the circle of Lamela.
All roads lead back to Eric.
All roads lead back to Lamela. But seriously, I think Lenglet will be good for us. I think he'll play well. He's stepped up admirably. He's not made any mistakes. He's looked good bringing the ball through into midfield. I think he's more than good enough to play at Premier League or Champions League level. I mean, he's played for the French national team. I don't really think, mind you, so Sissoko. I don't really think that that is, he's lacking in anything. The simple reason we won't sign him is because he's on about £200,000 a week at his club. So there's no chance of us signing him on a permanent basis as it currently stands. None. But I would take him if he was available for the right price and he dropped his wages. I think he's a good player. He's a baller. He's very good at bringing the ball through, which is what I've said from day one, Dave. But like I said before, we're not even a third of the way through the season. Lots of football to be played.
When he's hoisting that Champions League trophy in, is it Poland or Turkey? Correct. In May or June, I'll turn around and go, yeah, you were right all along.
Yep. Absolutely.
So you're suggesting that we hand him back in January and he goes to play for someone else? Is that what you're saying?
when he lifts the Europa Cup for Barcelona in June. You were right all along.
So left wing back, Perisic or Sessegnon? Caller. Oh, you're eating. HG.
Even though I think Perisic is a much better player, actually this game, Perisic, I've said Sessegnon the last couple of games because I thought, the opposition probably required Sessegnon there, but this time, no, we're at home. Let's go and win the game. We want people who can cross. We want people who can create. That to me isn't Sessegnon, so I'd go for Perisic.
It's an interesting question, John. Interesting.
I go Perisic as well.
You go Perisic as well.
Yeah, I think Sess has played the last three. I don't want to stretch him with his hamstring issues of the past as well.
Fair point.
There's a good pun in there about a hamstring injury, but I'd play Sessegnon. I think he's done well when he's played. I think Perisic hasn't looked particularly good in the last couple of times he's played, certainly. I don't think Sessegnon's done much wrong. I was chatting to a friend of mine today about this, actually, and he said he thinks that Sessegnon is probably Conte's first choice now. Conte's always had a soft spot for Sessegnon since he took over. Last season, he played him a lot. I do think that Sess will get the nod. Whether he should or not, I love Perisic, so I'd always like to see him in the team. But I think he'll get the nod.
I think ultimately Sessegnon, to my mind, is just not quite good enough.
No, he's good enough. He's got no self-belief. I think that's what I always think.
I think
he plays within himself.
I think he's not quite good enough. And if he's playing within himself at this stage, we're into his third or fourth season in his career at Tottenham. As I keep saying, he needs to be a man. He needs to be assertive. And he's not. He's just not. He got absolutely bullied by Reece James at Chelsea. He wasn't good then. So I think this is his make or break season for me. And thus far on the evidence, I think if we got a nice bit of cash for him in the summer, we should get rid of him.
I think this is a good question. Will Sess ever release the handbrake? And I agree, Caller. There's a big self-belief issue. But I also think, as JP mentioned, the hamstring. The hamstring is an issue for him, the injuries.
Maybe, but he hasn't been injured for a while now. I mean, he can do it. He's got the ability, he's got the pace, he can beat a man. We've seen him do it in fits and starts. The problem is, it's a bit like Gareth, and I'm not comparing him to Gareth Bale, but when Gareth Bale was at Spurs and in the embryonic stage of his Spurs career, he had the same issues, lots of injuries, and didn't have any self-belief. All of a sudden, he had that breakthrough season where he just terrorised defences. Obviously, Harry moved him up from left back into the midfield. And he went on to become a true world-class player because of the power of belief. Now, I'm not saying Sessegnon can do that, but I want to see Sessegnon let himself go a little bit. There is a great player in there, but he ain't going to come out until he starts, like you say, beating a man and getting to the byline and whipping balls in. That said, I think he's been all right. Last couple of games, he's been pretty decent.
I think as well, like if Sess only, like a doggy comes in next year and he becomes the kind of long-term first choice left back, left wing back, and Sess becomes the rotation option on the left, it's not a bad place for us to be in as a club. It's kind of what you want. He's homegrown, so he'll always have a spot kind of in the squad. And that's not a bad kind of career trajectory for any footballer.
You made the key point. You made the key point. If Sessegnon wasn't homegrown, he'd be on everyone's list to ship out. But because we know we need players who fulfill that quota, and Sess is already in house, it'll be it's going to be difficult to find those really high quality homegrown players because there aren't too many around, and most of them go to Man City or to Liverpool, to teams that can pay more or offer more chance of trophies. We've got Sessegnon, like whoever our homegrown players are, unless we produce them ourselves, they're going to be people from lower level clubs or mid-table clubs who aren't good enough to go and play for those extremely big British teams. So, if it wasn't for Kane, I mean, we've got Skip coming through, who may well be a bit more than a squad player at some point, but everyone else we're going to have to buy in. Spence, we had to buy in. So I just feel that, was Spence wanted by anyone bigger than us? No. And would he have gone there if they did? Yes. That's how I see it. So Sessegnon is kind of where he is because of who he is. But I agree with Dave. I don't think it's ever really going to come out because he's not good enough defensively, so he'll never be a fullback. He doesn't have any tricks as a winger, really. So he's never going to be a winger in a 4-5-1. So what is he? If he's only going to be a wing back, maybe, to me, that's a massive issue.
I mean, I think he might be being a bit harsh on the lad, but we'll see what happens with him.
He's still only, 22?
And he's not played badly this season at all. He's done pretty well.
He's done well. I think he's a perfectly serviceable top 8 Premier League footballer.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think that's the problem.
He's a squad player, is what he is.
Yeah,
he's a homegrown squad player.
Yeah,
I think
if
your
we
words,
had
JP.
a Hakimi or someone on the right, we wouldn't be so concerned about it because he's better than Royale, and you can kind of get away with it. But
He's better
because
than Royale. That's a stretch, isn't it?
No,
Benchmark.
I think Sess is a bit better than you giving him credit for, personally.
Yeah.
It's just my personal view.
But yeah, if you had because we don't have that better option, we're looking for more out of that left-sided player. So that's probably where we kind of fall. Yeah.
The good thing with when Udogie comes next year, like he's still only 19, so he's going to count as an under 21 for at least one season, maybe two. So maybe the homegrown thing won't matter so much if you've got under 21 players who are that good.
No.
But I just like when you watch Udogie play and when you watch Sessegnon play, the difference and it's not just mental. It's technical. Udogie is a much better player at wing back already than Sessegnon is. And those are the players that we want to be going out and trying to get. Obviously, it would be lovely if they were homegrown, but I just... the only reason I think we're talking about keeping him is because he might hit that quota. Otherwise, there are other places that we might want to improve instead of because we've already got someone in. But I don't know. I just, when it comes to, it reminds me of Ryan Bertrand or even Walker Peters, someone who's never going to be more than a squad player at a big club, but might play every week for Southampton. That's
I think he's way better. I think he's levels above that.
Ryan Bertrand won a Champions League medal, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
I mean, if you take the example of Walker Peters, I think Sessegnon is a much, much, much better player than Walker Peters is, and his ceiling's much higher as well. But
I don't think he's a much, much, much better player than
we'll
Walker
see
Peters.
who's right.
Yeah, we'll put him and in Longley and Sessegnon. We'll put them in.
Dave, are you going to mark down the date of this show so you can remember it and the time and the minute?
It's all going.
He needs marked as it is age. He forgets.
It's all going in the cabinet. Don't you worry.
In the cabinet. Okay. So should we do predictions for this game?
Yeah, go on.
I reckon it'll happen.
Good to know. Go on, Dave. You can go first then.
2-0 Tottenham. Sessegnon will get a brace.
JP?
4-1 Spurs.
Oh, he's gone big. Okay. HG?
1-0 Tottenham.
I think we're going to win 3-1. I think it'll be a comfortable win.
And I think on Patreon I went for 2-1 Spurs. So I'll
2-1 home win, John. Come on now.
2-1 home win.
Indeed. Yeah, 2-1 home win. Indeed. Before we go on to our predictions, I just saw this comment earlier. El Clasico is this weekend.
Oh, really?
And just looking at the league, Barcelona have played 8, won 7, drawn 1, 22 points, scored 20, conceded 1. Real Madrid, same record, 22 points, but they've got a 19, 4 and 7 against. So they're just Barcelona ahead on goal difference. So it's very tight at the top of La Liga.
Where's it being played at?
Oh, hold on. I'm on the wrong page now. Fixtures. It is at Madrid at 3:15 on Sunday, UK time.
Right.
Anyone got a prediction for that one? Anyone care?
I don't care, really. I think Madrid will win.
Yeah, I agree. I think Madrid will win. I mean, or a draw. I mean, I don't. It's weird. I actually don't really care. Like the days of it being Messi versus Ronaldo and the two best teams playing each other, they're long gone. So I think the interest has probably kind of disappeared as well a little bit. But that's just me.
I'd love the Barcelona circus just to keep rolling on and then get battered, and then go and spend another 400 million next year and sell all of their remaining TV money to 2050 to get a 35-year-old to come in at centre back.
Yeah, or Davinson Sanchez. Maybe we can sell him.
They can have Davinson Sanchez, yeah.
Big Dav.
48 million. Come get him.
Is that your prediction then?
Yeah. My prediction for El Clasico, Barcelona will sign Sanchez.
I think Madrid will grind it out. So, on Dave's suggestion, we're going to go through each fixture and we'll all do our prediction and then go on to the next one. So, I'm going to start with, at the bottom, Dave, Leicester, Crystal Palace.
Leicester are going to win 3-0. Jamie Vardy will get a hat trick and more money in the bonus to pay for all those legal fees he's now up for.
JP?
Crystal Palace 2-1.
Yeah. Okay. HG?
2-2. Score draw. Keep Rodgers in there.
A bit longer. Caller?
I think Rodgers is actually going to get a win here. 2-1 home win.
I'm going 3-2 to Leicester. I think it'll be a few goals. So it'll probably be a 0-0 now, won't it?
There's no
Fulham,
0-0 where
Bournemouth.
Leicester are concerned because the defence is that poor.
There is that true. Fulham, I'm going to go 2-1 to Fulham. Caller?
Draw. 1-1.
HG?
Home win, Fulham.
JP?
1-1.
I'm gonna go 1-0 to Bournemouth, and as week by week goes by, it's making Scott Parker look like more and more of an idiot, isn't it?
It actually is, yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done an amazing job.
And there were people suggesting he could be a future Spurs manager as well when he was at Fulham.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
Caller was suggesting that because he liked his cardigan.
Not me, no. I like Scotty Parker, but let's face it, he was just a slightly better Harry Winks. They both did the same trick.
He just went round in circles, didn't he?
Yeah,
He was good at tackling. DaveO, Wolves and Forest.
I'm going to go 1-0 Wolves.
HG? Sorry, JP.
0-0.
HG.
Forest to win that one.
Caller, what's your dad saying?
My dad's kind of despondent, to be honest. I'm seeing him tomorrow, so I'll ask him.
Is he despondent because he's seeing you tomorrow?
Touche. You're just jealous because you don't get to see me tomorrow, Dave. I think
I thought you were about to go somewhere that you really didn't want to go with me, but carry on.
he's kind of really upset that Nuno might be back. So, I mean, he would just say they can't score goals. So probably a Forest win, 2-1 to Forest.
Okay. I think probably I could see it being 1-0 to Forest. I might be wrong. We've done Tottenham Everton. So Villa, Chelsea, I'm going to go away win. 3-1 Chelsea. Caller?
I mean, I can't see anything other than a Chelsea win, sadly. Let's go 2-1.
HG?
2-0 Chelsea.
JP?
3-0 Chelsea.
Always gone big time. DaveO?
I'm going to go 3-0 Chelsea, and straight after the game, Jamie Carragher's going to write another article in the Telegraph about why they should still persist with Gerrard as the manager, while spitting on a child. Sorry.
And that's just him trying to pronounce something.
Can Leeds get anything in their home game against the Goons, DaveO?
No, they can't get anything. So they will lose 2-0.
JP?
Wishful thinking, Leeds 1-0.
Very wishful.
HG?
Arsenal win.
Caller?
I can't see anything other than an Arsenal win, but I'm going to go for Leeds 2-1.
My only hope is that Arsenal had to play Thursday. And
I just think
up
that
at some point.
Leeds are not a great side. I think, Jesus had a break on Thursday, for example. I think Arsenal will be fine and fresh, and I think they've got a real sort of head of steam at the moment. So, but again, law of averages, they've won 9 out of 10. I mean, there's no going away to Leeds is a tough fixture, as we proved last season.
Yeah.
When we stuffed them.
4-0. Yeah. I think 3-1 Arsenal, personally.
Mm-hmm.
Man United, Newcastle. I'm going to go. See, Newcastle a bit of form, aren't they? I'm going to go 2-2-2-0 on this one. Caller?
Draw. I like your 2. I'll have a Desmond too.
Okay.
I think Newcastle. I'm going to want them to win. I'm going to say they're going to win 2-1 Newcastle.
JP?
I'm also falling in the Newcastle win camp. I reckon they'll do them 2-0.
Oh, okay. DaveO?
Everyone's favourite sports washers will win 2-1.
Do you want to take Southampton West Ham then,
Me?
Dave? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of Australian television stations of massive bidding war to show this live because it's a big game. Oh God, I think West Ham will win 1-0 and Ralph will get the flick this week.
Right. JP?
This screams score draw to me, 1-1.
Southampton to win. I don't know what West Ham did last night. I know they played Anderlecht, but I've no idea what
They
happened.
won 2-1 at home.
Yeah, no, I think Southampton will win.
I think there was a bit of biffo in the stands, wasn't there, with the Anderlecht fans?
What, West Ham fans fighting?
It's more Anderlecht.
Oh,
They're not with each other. I mean, if Anderlecht are fighting West Ham, fair play.
Cool.
All right, Riot Squad.
He's Danny Dyer, Football Factory.
It's Danny Dyer.
Southampton going to beat them 3-1. Up the same.
I'm going to go 1-0 Southampton. And then Liverpool Man City in our Patreon prediction. What did I put? I think I put 2-5 or something like that. So 5-2 to City. I just thought Haaland's going to score, isn't he? Cooler?
I think City are going to dispose of them quite easily. I think it's going to be 3-1.
SG?
I think the most Spursy result possible is that Liverpool win. Therefore, Liverpool win and Arsenal go, 5 points clear, whatever it will be. Liverpool will win that.
Okay. You're just a rare sunshine, you are, HG.
No, not because I think Liverpool are genuinely better than City. They're not. But I just know that's the type of thing that happens.
Yeah.
So, Liverpool to win at home.
Especially coming off a big win against mighty European opposition.
Liverpool's best 11 is still very good. I don't know how many of them are fit, but if they get their midfield right, you know they've got ability. If Salah gets his head out of his bum, then they'll score. But I don't know. I don't want it to happen, but I suspect that Arsenal will win and Man City won't.
I actually have a feeling about Liverpool in this game. I reckon they'll do 3-2. And given Leeds are going to beat Arsenal anyway, it doesn't make a difference.
Dave?
I think City will dispose of Liverpool like a dissident journalist with opposition views. Oh, sorry, wrong sports watchers. My apologies. I think City will win 2-1. And if anyone does fantasy league, a big fantasy league tip is put Haaland as your captain week after week after week.
If you don't have Haaland in your team and as your captain by default at this point, you just retire from fantasy.
Yes.
Can I just point out that Man City's midweek game against Arsenal has been postponed because Arsenal have got to play the PSV game rearranged from the other week.
No.
So Man City, if they did lose, would then have to wait a week while other teams might be able to catch up a little bit more.
So you're going to say Arteta's got a bit of a head.
No, Arsenal are playing in Europe, so they're not playing either. They were supposed to play City, which would have been quite good because I think City would trounce them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it would have been. But it's a shame. That'll be after the World Cup now, won't it?
Mm-hmm.
Adrian, Klopp will moan before, during, and after the match. Standard. Oh, here you go, Darren.
I don't know if that counts as a prediction, Adrian, or if that's just
no. It's just fact. Anderlecht fans ripped the West Ham seats, according to Sky Sports.
There you go.
They took the scaffolding home with them.
Yeah. Oh, Al Pasha's got Kane as captain. I've got Kane as vice captain and Haaland as captain.
I've got Haaland captain, obviously, because if you don't put Haaland as captain for any game, you're an idiot.
Sorry, Al Pash.
He didn't say you by name, but
I mean, he did suggest I was adopted in the chat earlier, so he deserves it.
Right. Oh yeah. Hello. I mean, it doesn't say a lot. They plan to open contract talks with Antonio Conte next month.
The sun's going down at the end of today.
They're going to watch, Qatar versus Ecuador together, and talk about the contract over a glass of orange cordial. I don't know.
Chianti.
I mean, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it during the World Cup, aren't you? That would make sense. They've got a break. So, but it does seem to me, and I did comment the other day on this, that Daniel Levy obviously travelled out to the funeral with the coaching staff, and it does seem they've got quite a good relationship, where we know Conte's been quite spiky in the past with owners. It seems to be on an even keel currently. Now, we know things can go off kilter quite easily, but
how much are we paying Conte right now?
15 million.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah,
Do you reckon there's any correlation between them going, well, we want to talk to him about this when we've got a good run? When do we have a good run? When we're playing Bournemouth in November. Should we go and have a chat to him about his contract after that game? All right, that sounds good. Let's schedule it in for then.
Yeah, quite. But no, hopefully Spurs will be doing lots of planning in November because they've got a month off, right? So even though Conte, in theory, will be training the players that aren't at the World Cup, or maybe they'll be off, in Qatar having some sunny whatever time, I don't know. But it's it's a good time to do, plan for January, plan to see where they are, plan to loan Jed Spence out in January, all those things that Spurs are going to probably do. It's typical Telegraph, nonsense. Like, oh, we plan to do this, and Spurs could use Google as their sponsors. But they don't know anything. They're just writing stuff that could be true.
Planning to send Hill back to Spain. That's another thing they'll be doing.
There we go.
Be interesting to see how much game time he gets between now and the World Cup, because that could be key to him moving on in January.
Who,
so if
Hill?
he gets a chance, if he gets a chance to impress and does impress, then he might stay here.
I think he'll finally had his chance to impress and didn't.
Oh, that's terrible likes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mama HG, for flagging it up. 52 likes, 116 watching, 118 watching now. Come on, guys, please click that little like button. Doesn't cost you a penny, but it helps us out. I've just got this one to chat about quickly. Manchester United have named their price. The Glazers have named their price rather than Manchester United.
According
$10 billion.
According to the
dollars.
reliable source that is Mirror Football,
Yeah, absolutely. Thoughts on that?
My thoughts are the Glazer guy, the ginger guy, has got the shittest ponytail I've ever seen. Like a really bad effort for the
bald man with a ponytail isn't a good look, is it?
It is a terrible fucking. The guy's a billionaire. What's he doing?
Yeah, whatever he wants. That's what happens when you got lots of money.
Yeah, I don't think he's that fussed.
Get a hair transplant. Go the full Conte. Do it properly.
No, that would be ridiculous.
Well, that billionaire what's his name? Jim Ratcliffe or something said in the week that he wanted to buy him, but he wasn't able to. So he's on the lookout for another club. So really, are they really naming the price at 10 billion? I don't think so.
Club's not worth that much. I mean, if Chelsea was 4, Old Trafford's in a pretty bad state. It's a bigger club than Chelsea, but Old Trafford needs a lot of work.
It's got a better global brand.
It's much bigger global brand.
Like maybe 6.
Yeah. MK Dons is about 7.5. So, let's just work out the scale.
Yeah, the Glazers set United's price at 10 billion in the same way that Spurs set Kane's price at 400 million. It's like, if someone wants to pay it, great. But otherwise, no. Like, it's not a question about what United are worth. It's a question of what they want to get out of the fact they have this cash cow that they can take millions of pounds out every year.
Yeah, and what someone's willing to pay, ultimately.
Maybe we'll get another sport washing country by him.
You think?
Who's left?
Moscow on Thames.
Moscow on Thames. Yeah, I'll do that.
Building falling down and the team. It'd be interesting to see what. ASU, you were quite critical of Ten Hag. What's your thoughts on him now?
I definitely think that signing Casemiro, as much as it was a short-term thing, was probably the best thing they could have done, right? Because suddenly that midfield area doesn't look as weak as it did. They're winning probably the games that they should, and losing the games that they shouldn't. Which I mean, that they should. So it's. I guess it's all right. It's probably better than I expected, but I think they've signed relatively well. They've managed to solidify the first 11, and then Well, yeah, but they had to, and they knew that. And obviously he wanted De Jong, right, which probably would have been a worse fit, maybe. But, having Eriksen and Casemiro suddenly in midfield gives them two players that are quality.
Yeah.
They're both 30, so they're not going to be long-term things. But suddenly, it's not McTominay and Fred every game. I think that's been a big thing for United. So that they will probably. I know we talked about Newcastle this week. That's actually a pretty good game because the two of them, are doing different things. Newcastle have gone maybe the more younger route. I mean, I know they bought Trippier, but still they bought the Dutch guy Botman. They bought Guimaraes. Like they're trying to build something, whereas United are just trying to kind of stabilize before they then make the next step. So I think Newcastle will probably be a better team, a more functional team. But that United will have players that can score, so that will be a really good game this weekend.
And hopefully, a couple of red cards for United as we play them on Wednesday.
I was going to say we play them almost imminently, don't we? Wednesday night. That's
Wednesday night, and Gibbo's going to do another post match, I think, that night. And James, the student, today said he'll be on that show.
All right,
he's arisen from his Guinness and whiskey student life that he's having.
It's Geordie Lass.
I think Seb's going to the game as well.
That's right. Seb has a ticket.
He is, yeah. And Becky was hoping to go to the game as well. Becky was hoping to do 4 games in a row starting this Saturday.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, maybe we'll ask them for some footage, maybe. Right. Have we got any other any comments? Alpash is suggesting that we'll go and get Bellingham and Conte and Kane will sign. I think Bellingham's going to go Liverpool, isn't he?
Yeah, it's Liverpool written all over him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'd love Bellingham. I absolutely love Bellingham. Obviously, you see more of him, don't you?
I think everyone would like Bellingham. He's a quality player.
Yeah, he's going to have the pick of wherever he wants to go.
Yeah, and it's weird. Like Liverpool, where they
are,
are.
Man City.
MK Dons.
Would Liverpool be his pick? That's the thing. I don't know. I kind of hope that Bellingham doesn't come to England, just plays outside England for his whole career.
Whole career? That's a bit much.
He'll definitely come back.
Yeah,
if he's good enough to go and play for Real Madrid, let him go and play for Real Madrid. Like it's just like I realize that Liverpool need him more than maybe other clubs do, but Man City's midfield is also pretty. Gundogan is 30 plus, De Bruyne is 30 plus. Like
Man City, the guy from Leeds, aren't they?
Who?
What's his name?
Phillips.
Yeah, Calvin Phillips has nothing to do with Jude Bellingham, I don't think. But Bellingham, like if City want him, I think he should go to City. But City are still better set up to win things than Liverpool are right now. So I get that Klopp is a wonderful manager, but if City are interested, I think you have to pick City.
Why did you block our sponsor, John?
That was me.
Just I thought I'd leave that for you for private time, Dave, later on. Adrian does make a good point. Alfie Devine scored twice on Wednesday, not yesterday, for the under 8. Although they did throw away a 2-goal lead to lose 3-2 at home to Frankfurt. Devine does look like a good player, doesn't he? Is he going to make it?
Be interesting to see what we do with him in January, because obviously we were going to loan him out earlier than planned, but then he got injured. So I wonder if he sticks around and he gets some minutes in the first team in cups.
I don't think so. I think
he
should go and play regularly somewhere else. To me,
what
is he 18 now?
I think if he sticks around for another season, he counts as like academy grown or something. But if he goes out online, he won't. So
right,
I think at this point it might make sense to keep him.
I think you should go to MK Dons on loan.
What is your obsession with MK Dons today?
I don't know. I think we just send them all. Send Hill to MK Dons as well. Get to see some plastic cows. I love it.
Oh, this is a good question.
Minutes, to be honest.
Will we see Sarr this season? I have a feeling it will be mainly if we have injuries.
I think more likely than Devine.
Yeah,
so
yeah. FA Cup at Colchester.
No, Sarr needs regular football too. But to borrow a David thing, if we're going to send him on loan somewhere, it needs to be in England, right? So we can get used to our game. Because
any suggestions where he should go in England?
MK Dons, right? No, look,
that's right.
Send Southampton. Nice young team. He'll play all the time next to Ward-Prowse. That would be a decent option for him. But yeah, I think Sarr's a quality player, but again, he needs games, and he's only going to get them at Spurs if other players are injured. A lot of players too, not just one or two. Like it's not easy for him.
Yeah, I'd love to see him play. Like you say, FA Cup third round. If we get like we did Morecambe last year, could he be worse than Ndombele was on that day? Because we were very poor that day. King Hoddle, Parrott isn't doing great. Isn't Parrott injured now to the World Cup? I read.
Yeah, he's injured.
So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Alpash suggesting someone like Palace for Sarr. I'm not sure I see that. Norwich would make sense. Yeah, I think that's a good shout. Just want to see these guys get a bit of football. You want just 20 minutes playing for the first team, in a game when you're winning would be nice, but we don't seem to put teams to the sword this season the way we were last season.
That's never going to happen. Send them on loan.
Well, we can't send them on loan till January anyway, so let's just see what happens with the World Cup.
Why don't we plan to send them on loan in January? Do some planning.
Well, you'd hope they are planning.
We'll have a meeting in November to talk about planning to send him after the World Cup.
Have a big planning meeting.
Yep.
Can't just building. It can't just be about building a new bowling alley next to Sainsbury's all the time. Plan on the footballing side as well.
I don't know. His national team, are they qualified for the World Cup?
Yeah, he's Senegalese. So yeah, I think they did. I think they're in Group A.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to the World Cup, is he?
I don't know if he'll get picked in the squad, but I think he's probably going to go. Yeah,
I think he is, isn't he?
Like, I mean, he probably won't start, right? He'll be on the bench for most of it, but I'm pretty certain he's going to go.
He should go, shouldn't he?
I think he will go. I'm sure he was in the squad. I'm just going to have a quick look.
But no, I think Scar's a quality player, but it's just, wherever he goes, he's going to have to play. And that's a difficult thing. Like, what Premier League teams are going to say, right, we've got someone coming in for 6 months, we're going to play him. Like, I feel like sometimes you see, like in Germany, they often have, they send the younger players out for 2 years on loan. And it's almost like, right, you're going to go there and you're going to become something. But again, not within the same league. I think like Philipp Lahm went to Stuttgart before he really became the player at Bayern that he was. But I think Bayern recalled him, as soon as they could when they realised how good he was.
Right. Was Conrad Lima ever sent on loan anywhere?
No.
Okay. He's just good anyway.
In the internationals in September, Sarr played the full 90 against Bolivia in the game they won 2-0 and played 15 minutes in the second game. So he came on the sub basically in the second game.
He's getting the World Cup. He's going to win the Golden Boot at the World Cup. I'm telling you that.
Well, from midfield.
Yeah.
Let's hope so. That would be fun.
They've got Netherlands, Qatar, and Ecuador they're playing in their group games.
And is Spain in the World Cup?
Spain are in the World Cup, but Hill is in the under-21s.
He's not going to go to the World Cup.
No,
it's just, he didn't play enough games for QPR on loan last season. That was it. He went to Valencia and they was like, no, we want him in English football so we can see how good he is.
Well, maybe that'd be the first item on the agenda at the planning meeting in November.
I think that's about the comment. Oh, we got more spam. Goodness me. Anyone got any other comments?
Cooler, you got a comment on something, surely?
What's wrong with a comment on?
No, just make a comment about, anything you want to say.
I'm not going tomorrow, are you, Caller?
No, got my niece's birthday party, second birthday party, which is obviously way more important than the football.
Happy birthday to Caller's niece.
Freya.
No Conte cam either, apparently.
Well, I think he's just blagging us, to be honest.
You reckon?
So keep your eyes peeled for Conte cam.
Okay. But yeah, only about we're close to 100,000 views for the one for Wednesday, aren't we?
100,000 views. We're nearly at 6,000 subscribers. So if you're watching now and you're not subscribed, please do smash the subscribe button, hit the like button. It means the world to us. Costs you nothing.
And if you've got any friends that are Spurs fans, get them to subscribe, get them to watch. Send them the link over for the show.
If you've got any enemies who are Spurs fans, get them to watch as
well. Yeah.
Children, friends of your children.
Anyone you're
We'll take anyone.
Becky, get your school on this. Come on now.
Anyone you're slightly indifferent to in your life but are Spurs fans, just get them on.
When I was in the States in the summer, I signed my brother-in-law up.
Subscribe for him. If you're slightly indifferent to, went straight to your brother-in-law. Nice.
Didn't even ask him, just did it. This is for you.
I didn't make that link to his brother-in-law and being slightly indifferent to him. That's got nothing to do with me, and let's not go there.
What's this? What's this? Adrian Caller will be sitting in a chair at the party with his ankle strapped.
Because you're always injured, aren't you?
Well, I play quite a lot through injury, but I did have a broken foot and a torn ligament. So, yeah, I couldn't play for a little bit.
I honestly have missed this kind of footballing career update from you. It's been too long. It's just.
I actually only popped on tonight because I saw you were here, Dave, and thought, blimey, he's not around much these days. I must get on there.
Oh, it's almost sentimental.
Almost. Should we talk about your stumbling? Have you found a decent kebab yet?
No, I have. I just weren't open when I was looking for it the other night. That's all.
I think Adrian just said he thinks we're catching. You've only got 9,000 members. Well, our Facebook page has got more than that, Adrian. But feel free to put your Facebook page in the comment there if you want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you put it in the comments, I'll put it up. King Hodl, I've got no idea. I did a video call with him on Wednesday, and he was well up for doing it, but he just hasn't appeared. I've messaged him.
He did a video
tweeted.
call. It's just next week, Wincy Willis is coming on from TV.
He's in a.
So Al Pasha's got an idea. Let's get Liz Truss on. I'm sure she'll
don't
be
do
Might be out of a job soon enough.
She'll
that's
be
true.
unemployed
That's the
soon.
time.
Yeah. Her and Nuno could swap. Yeah. No problem.
Rishi's going to be the Wolves fan, isn't it? Wolves manager. Yeah.
Rishi?
Elton's not tweeted today.
No, Quasi, not Rishi.
Quasi's going to go there. Okay.
Can you imagine, right? And obviously, I hope this isn't the case. That maybe if Elton has, popped his clogs, which I hope hasn't happened, we could honestly be part of the news story.
Where are you going with this?
We could get interviewed, right? Saying that he was meant to be on tonight. What happened to him? It could be like a showbiz mystery.
And we'll go, I don't know, really. He was last
God,
seen,
was I the last person to speak to him on Wednesday night? Oh,
yeah. You
my
could be on the
God.
news tomorrow. Obviously, I hope this doesn't happen. To be clear,
Should we start a Twitter campaign? Where's Elton?
good idea.
Hashtag where's Elton?
I'll open up
save
an account
Elton.
today to do it.
The only problem is you'll get lots of responses of an Elton John kind, I'm pretty sure.
So
that'd be great to get
obviously,
Elton John on.
Well, let's get all the Eltons on, shall we?
Well, we need to get Judge Rinder on. You've been promising me Judge Rinder for ages, and he's,
Well, he went out to. Didn't he go out to Ukraine or something? I
Oh,
thought
he
he was
did.
gonna come on.
Yes, no, he was
Yeah.
going to come on, and then
Why don't we get Ben Elton on?
we are in negotiations with Judge Rinder. Case
Might
note.
take a while.
I don't know who. Sorry, pardon my ignorance. Who's Judge Rinder?
You don't know who
Oh.
Judge Rinder is?
No, because he
No.
doesn't live here.
There's this thing called Google. They're sponsoring the stadium, right? Go and do that.
Okay, well, no idea who he is. Anything else, or can we all go home now?
Are you keen to start your day, Dave? Is that the problem?
The Crow's Nest. There's Crow's Nest festivals on tomorrow. It's the
What's
world's
that?
biggest festival. It's going to be mental.
The world's biggest festival.
Yeah, Chemical Brothers, Prodigy. They're all playing up the road outside Woolies. It's going to be fantastic.
Outside
How
Woolies.
big is that then?
30,000 in Crow's Nest tomorrow. Get there.
That's not the biggest festival in the world. I hate to burst the bubble.
30,000 10 minutes. We do it in 10 minute slots. It's going to be amazing.
30,000
Right.
people every 10 minutes. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
My bath duck's fallen. There we go.
With that in mind.
Oh dear.
Change the design on them.
On that
mine's
note,
blue.
I'm going to bring this to a close. So, DaveO, thanks for joining.
Look, it's been an absolute pleasure. Lovely seeing everyone, especially Owen, who never fails to tickle me.
Who's Owen? Who's he?
Mm.
JP?
Yeah, good to see you all again. It's been great to be back on after a bit of a break.
Well, I'm guessing you need to run off for the kids. They're probably screaming or something.
Yeah, I'm going to have
HC?
to get some brownie points.
Yeah, I know. Enjoyed it as always. And is it really Spurs again tomorrow? Like, I feel like these games every 3 days are killing me. But I suppose it could
Why are
be
they
worse.
killing you? It's great.
You're not playing.
Some people find this enjoyable.
No, like, it's, like
Quote of the day. You're not.
Jay,
I hate it when my team plays.
Yeah.
it feels like I don't know. Like when it happens at the end of the season, it's fun. But right now, like watching Spurs is still a bit of a chore. I mean,
Really?
a little
It
bit.
is
Yeah,
at
we're
times,
not
yeah.
playing. We're not playing good football. We
I
might
get
be
that.
winning games,
I do get that.
but
yeah.
it's like the Everton game. It's weird. I probably won't be able to watch tomorrow anyway. But still, it's Yeah, I don't sit there thinking, yes, another chance to watch us win 4-0, because we're not doing that.
Well, on that positive note.
Wouldn't it be lovely, Will, if you're looking forward to winning every game 4-0? That would be wonderful.
It would be lovely.
Caller, you'll be back Monday, I think. Are you doing Monday? Or is Becky doing Monday? We'll negotiate.
One of us will be doing Monday. There will be a show on Monday. I'm quite happy to confirm that.
And there will be a Monday as well. I can also
confirm. The sun will rise. And
you could work for the Telegraph.
And
I will be here tomorrow night at around 7:30 after the Everton game, doing instant reaction with Gibbo and Jack Hoyle, who made his debut on Wednesday, are coming back on again.
I'll try and jump on, actually. I mean, depending on what time I get back from this party and how much of the match I see, then I'll hopefully get, and depends what time the kids settle, but maybe I'll jump on. Maybe I won't.
Are you watching the game, JP, or are you going to watch it blind, like a bit later on?
I'm going to watch it blind a bit later, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same.
I've got a flight to Queensland tomorrow, so I might watch it on the plane.
Winning at life, my friend.
I was going to suggest you two doing a delayed watch along, but that's not going to work on a plane, is it?
No.
Is it a bit warmer down there now, JP? Are you any closer to losing the beanie, mate?
Well, I mean, the bald head kind of determines what sits on my head. But yeah, it's getting a little bit warmer. It's been a bit cold the last couple of days, but it's starting to warm up.
He's in his pajama shorts today. It's balmy weather.
They're very
I'm asking JP because he's an authentic Aussie.
Treat for the listeners.
There you go.
There's my Paw Patrol pajama bottoms that have been on.
HG's left us.
HG's just had enough. Doesn't want a small talk. I've gone. See you later. On that note,
so anyway, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.